that black youth, as they are being raised, their role models are largely not glorifying staying with one woman, getting married, going to church. And if you're wrong, show me the black role models that are doing that. There might be a couple I could think of, maybe. But if it's about culture, you're right. The internal black culture has collapsed the last 60 years. We're no longer elevating the family. We're no longer elevating staying with the person that you're with. So our contention here as conservatives is that the systemic racism stuff is a bunch of rubbish. Instead, it's systemic bad choices.
Do you feel that systemic racism isn't real?
Of course not. What can I do that you can't do? Name it.
Okay.
No, seriously. What can I do that you can't do?
That's a slippery slope.
No, it's not.
I don't know why.
Very simple. No, because back in 1940, you would have been able to answer that question. Well, Charlie, there's a bathroom over there that I can't go to. There's a major league team.
I can't walk into the grocery store and get the same looks that you do. I walked into Brookshire Brothers a couple of weeks ago and I was looked at.
That's an insanely hyper-paranoid way of living life. But that's not evidence, right?
It's a real example.
By the way, if I walk into a black neighborhood, I get bad looks too, okay? So I don't know what the contention is.
Because of the way you treat our culture and the way you perpetuate.
Hold on.
What's good, family? Welcome to Pretty Realist. If this is your first time joining my channel, welcome. I'm quite sure that you all have heard about the tragic situation that took place a few days ago. Now, you do have people on the right who were shaken by this loss, but then, of course, you have people who seem to have been celebrating. But one thing that stuck out with me the most is I had no idea how much Black people did not like Charlie Kirk. I had no idea.
But shout out to Charlie Kirk for being fucking dead though, fam. Like, shout out to him for spending his last moments bleeding from his fucking neck, struggling to breathe, as he once again tried to make the problems in America the fault of black people.
I wanted to do my own research because they did have a lot of different clips that were going around on the internet. You know how they like to slice and dice things and never really give you the full context of what was actually said, which even within that sneak peek, it's enough to piss somebody off.
So you're saying black men are getting married and then leaving their
Not
families?
getting married. That's the problem. What I'm saying is the data. I'm saying 2 out of 3 black men impregnate women and don't stay with them.
Sir, I'm telling you that 54% of black men, according to the CDC study 2023 National Health Statistics Reports, literally says that 54% don't even have children.
I know that's a complete different stat. Everyone knows what I'm saying and not what you're saying. That's a complete different. That's like a.
So
what I'm saying is that if you have a black child, which obviously exists for some reason, right? Somebody did something to make that black baby.
Okay.
2 out of 3 times, the dad will not be around. Fact. Done.
All right.
Yeah, it's only out of. Thank you. The statistics are actually out of only those who have kids.
So you got black men who are married also. They're not abandoning their children and families at high rates.
But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the vast majority of black babies are born out of wedlock with abandoned fathers.
Okay, so let's do this. Now, if that's bad for black babies,
it's bad for all. It's bad for everybody.
So then shouldn't that be your main line then?
It is actually. Everywhere I go, I talk about
when
dads.
you do it, you kind of focus on black men as if somehow we're the only ones. That's part of that problem.
Well, no, but it is a black men abandonment issue, of course. I mean, would you agree that's probably the biggest issue facing Black America is lack of dads?
It's one of the issues.
Okay, what is the biggest issue?
I don't know. I haven't kind of thought about that.
I want you to think about it over the next couple of days. We as conservatives believe
because we got a lot of problems. But
the breakdown of family, we believe, is the original sin of what's happening. We think that truth transcends color. It's true for white people, black people, Asians, Hispanics. Final thought.
Okay.
But I would just go ahead and do my own research. Y'all know me. I'm gonna do my little scrolling and judging and find out for myself. And I came across this video where he's actually talking about black fatherlessness. So let's go ahead and check it out. And yeah. To see what all the ruckus is about.
Well, absolutely. Well, I'm talking about a different topic this time. You made some interesting points. About the crime statistics in the African American community. You think crime and poverty are intrinsically linked?
Not always, but they could be directionally close to each other. For example, poor Asians are not necessarily more likely to commit crimes than a poor black person.
Okay. Do you think there's systematic functions in place that prevent African Americans from moving upward?
No, does not exist.
You don't think so?
No.
You don't think they've ever enforced any policies or any actions?
Maybe 40 or 50 years ago, but nothing in our lifetime, not even close.
I would say in our lifetime, right? Within our
That's a big deal, though,
our last
right?
20 decades, our last 2 decades, right? We've had a lot of opportunities for upper mobility, right?
And for whatever reason,
but at a systemic
it hasn't
level,
worked.
But at a systemic level, there's a history of prejudice within the American system against African Americans and black people.
But there's also historic systemic bias against Asian Americans and Jews. It hasn't held them back.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about them.
No,
right?
but it's important to compare. Why is it that it held blacks back but not Asians or Jews?
So I'll answer that. So Jews, well, let me speak about Asians. As a model minority, right? They've had more opportunities for upper mobility.
How?
Well, in terms of getting business loans, setting up in different neighborhoods.
No, there was a lot more anti-Asian discrimination in California than anti-black discrimination in the 40s and 50s.
So you agree 100% that African Americans have getting the same opportunities?
No, I'm not. Look,
as far as redlining goes,
groups are sometimes treated poorly. Whether or not you're able to overcome that is the question. Number two.
So treated poorly doesn't cover it. I have a couple things. I have a couple lines. Right. So we have the Tulsa massacre of 1921, right?
Yeah,
where African Americans established a black. Well, they established a Black Wall Street, right? And that was taken down. We have the Black Panthers
how does that impact
in San Francisco.
How does that impact you?
Well, I'm saying there's a history. I'm trying to establish a link here.
No, but I think, again, that you're trained to do this in the college. It has no bearing on whether or not you can make good decisions or not.
Well,
right?
College has no impetus on my thinking. This is
no,
organic.
I know, but I reject the whole premise. You are not a creature or a victim of what happened 104 years ago. You're your own being with your own agency, your own ability to make decisions of right or wrong.
And I agree to not subscribing to a victim mentality and taking accountability for your actions.
I don't think any of that plays into your current status.
You don't think so at all?
No.
Can you list more reasons as to why?
Yeah, the number one problem with Black America is the fact that dads are not around. Not the fact that
and that's enforced by the government.
No, it's not.
Most people lack accountability in our community, and it's the truth. You guys don't want to hear that Black fatherhood is one of the biggest issues that we have going on right now. And when our families were strong, yes, there was still racial discrimination that was going on. Yes, there was still racism that was going on. Yes, it was. But at the same time, when you are looking at today and seeing how it's important to have two incomes in the house, it's important to have a mother and a father to be able to truly pour into a child the right way, then you can't really argue with what he's saying. And it's a big problem in our community. And it's something that we still don't want to address, because the moment that somebody calls us out on it, it don't matter if you're Black, white, Mexican, it don't matter what color a person is. The moment that they call Black people out on their shit, y'all get upset about it. Y'all automatically assume that it's racist. And it's crazy because even when somebody Black say it, y'all still want to get mad about it. So it really didn't matter if he was Black or white saying it. It's just the fact that a lot of you all don't want to hold yourselves accountable for poor decisions that you have made. And a lot of our parents don't want to even hold themselves accountable for poor decisions that they made. So really, truth be told, a lot of us are really breaking generational curses. If you look at the dialogues that he's having, he's not being disrespectful to this young man. He's not calling them stupid. He's not calling them ignorant. He ain't called them the N-word. They're having a dialogue, a real conversation that needs to be had more, especially with our youth in college, because this college education, this CRT, the critical race theory classes that they are giving these kids, they're not really giving them the full truth or the full scope of things. That even though we had slavery that took place in our country, even though we had discrimination, we also had the Gilded Ages. We also had the Harlem Renaissance. We still had colleges that were being built thanks to Black Americans. So Black Americans overcame so much at one point, even with all of that. So what has stopped us from being able to move forward? That's the question.
On an individual basis, there's different programs that
two out of three Black youth did not have a dad around.
Yeah, there's a crack epidemic. CIA moved crack into the hood. We went into different hoods in Los Angeles community.
Yeah, but you have to still choose to do drugs. So, like, the point is you're a victim of your choices, not your circumstances. That's what makes us conservatives different.
I think you're removing culpability from people, but I agree.
And then that's another thing. Y'all always bring up the crack epidemic as if we didn't have a heroin epidemic as well. The crack epidemic, yes, it hurt our community really badly. But the crack epidemic didn't start until the 80s. The dismantling of the Black family started in the 60s, before the crack epidemic. So y'all really don't be having nothing to stand on when that's the first thing that y'all go to. Or when you say the prison industrial complex. Now, Charlie does make a very valid point. You got to choose to smoke crack. Didn't nobody put the pipe up to your mouth and tell you to smoke it. People chose to do those drugs. The only people that really suffered were the families who didn't do the drugs, the babies that were born to the crack addicted mothers, the fathers who did not stay around. But the dismantling of the Black family, that started in the 60s. That's what these kids are missing. They're going mainly off of these talking points, these liberal talking points, because liberals, they don't want to accept, they don't hold themselves accountable. So they have created a nation of people who do not hold themselves accountable for their own faults. They love to call everybody else racist, love to talk about the civil rights, and love to talk about all of these the Jim Crow and everything, but they never ever put themselves in the story. These were things that they created. They created the Black codes. They created Jim Crow. Hell, they fought for slavery. It literally was like 9% of Black children that was without a father during the 1950s. Towards the end of the 50s, less than 20% of Black babies were born without their father being there. That didn't necessarily mean that drugs took the father out. Yeah, the father probably could have left because they couldn't provide for their family. I've heard situations like that before, but that wasn't even just Black people. That was everybody. That was white men doing the same thing. They was leaving the family if they couldn't provide for them, because a lot of these men were coming back from the war, and black men in general, they didn't really have much when they was coming back from the wars. But the thing about it is that, like, the family unit was still strong. It was until the 60s that it went from less than 20% to 33%. And now fast forward now in 2025, you can't keep blaming systematic racism. You can't keep blaming the white man for the reason why we have 47% of single mothers in the community. We have no excuse for it.
Accountability.
We believe choices are what determine what you're in, not what's around you.
Yeah,
so,
your choices inform your environment and your outcomes. I agree with that.
Yeah. So then if people choose to do crack cocaine and therefore your kids don't have a dad around, that's your own choice. If you choose to commit crimes and you're in prison, that's your own choice.
Yeah,
but no other community has had this problem. Why is Black America have this problem?
I think there's a direct link between the prison industrial complex and incarceration.
Well, but how does one get to prison?
And the profiling African Americans.
Well, hold on. But first of all, it's not a profiling when it comes to that. Blacks are far more likely to commit crimes than any other group associated.
When you all continuously mention the prison industrial complex, you leave out Biden. Y'all leave him out. Remember, y'all voted him in? Remember the guy that y'all voted in office in 2020? Crime bill? 90s crime bill? Yeah. He was a part of that. See what I'm saying? They seem to always leave themselves out of the story.
It's like 3 to 4 times more likely. It's not even close. So how is that?
Well, I'm not here to debate numbers because I don't have the numbers.
It's okay. When you get home, you can look at it. Black Americans are 13% of the population. They commit 55% of the violent crime.
A statistic I've heard before.
Right.
And I don't have the numbers.
It's fine. You could independently fact check it later. I don't anticipate you to have it off the top of your head. But why is that?
I don't have a direct answer.
I know. That's what I want you to think about it. And I'm not going to put you on the spot. Here's our answer. It's easy and tempting to say systemic racism, redlining, right? All that. Or you could say, maybe it's because dads aren't around, because dads being with their equivalent others or spouses is not a value in the Black community anymore. It's acceptable to have men impregnate women and flee. It's not a cultural expectation.
I think our cultural expectation is for African Americans to stand with their families and increase, because there's a lot of evidence that shows when two parents are present in a household, they have a higher chance of the children succeeding.
I agree. Then why doesn't that happen?
Upward.
So why don't Black dads stay around?
I think that's a progression in our community. I think that's a progression.
But
now.
why is
I'm
that
saying
happening?
that the reason that we're here is there's a lot of factors that led us to this point.
I don't but it's a decision that a Black man can make. He's impregnated a woman, so he's not in jail. So he's like a free citizen. Why not stay with that woman and start a family?
And I'd say for the most part,
66% of the time
we're moving in that direction.
It's getting worse, not better, actually. The single fatherhood rate is getting worse in Black America. It was 25% in 1965. It was 50% in 1980. It's 75% in certain cities now. It's beyond comprehension. It's like the worst of the industrialized world. And there's only one explanation. It's that it's not a cultural value in Black America right now.
I'm glad that I did this. I'm glad that I did this because now it makes sense. Y'all don't want to hear The truth. Y'all don't want to hear it. You guys do not want to hear that y'all have been okay with just skeeting in these girls, getting them pregnant, women who you don't plan on marrying, you don't plan on building a family with. Y'all just out here just spilling your seeds. And then the women, y'all are mad because y'all okay with letting the men do it. Y'all okay with not getting courted. Y'all okay with letting Pookie and Ray Ray bust up in you. We're dealing with men, we're being sneaky leaks. We're having Netflix and chill. We're having fuck buddies, sex buddies, excuse me. Y'all are okay with that. And then you all bring these kids into this world knowing that you all created them on a foundation that was never built. The difference between then and now, because I come from a single parent household. My mom, I didn't meet my father until I was in my 20s. And one thing that we had when we were younger in the 80s and possibly the 70s, even though we did not have our fathers, we had a community. So we may not have had our dads, but we had our grandmothers, we had our uncles, we had friends of the family, we had cousins, we had granddad, if I didn't say him already. We had a community to help build us up. That community is not here anymore. You got Big Mama who is no longer here. Either she passed away or Big Mama is tired or Big Mama trying to keep up with her daughter and her granddaughters. You have no idea how many times I pull up social media and I see the elders are just as ratchet as the 20-year-olds. So it's definitely a breakdown in how the family dynamic in the Black community, it's not there anymore. It's not of importance anymore. You all rap about it. Y'all sing about it. Y'all make content about it. So it's really not a factor. And it's showing in how our youth is. It's showing.
Talk about. Why do you support the public execution of Charlie Kirk?
Because he's a terrible person and he deserves to die.
That's awesome. Well, thank you very much, ma'am.
About the fact that a man who dedicated his life to free speech decided, somebody decided to take his life, assassinate him. They both rated his neck with a 30-06. Yeah.
Fuck your homie, he did. Both of the ass got hit in the head. Fuck your homie, he
It's a
did.
cultural value moving forward, and I think
But
it
then
has
why
been
is
a
it
cultural
happening?
value. And I think post-civil rights movements, and especially during the civil rights movement, that was a major impetus, that was a major focus of the Black community, and that's how we got through that
But
movement.
you know,
It's
Black
through that
America,
structure and that family
you know, Black
unit.
America's actually gotten poorer since the Civil Rights Act.
Well, yes, I understand
Why?
that. I don't have an
You
answer for
lying.
that.
It's okay. Think about it. And I'm not saying it's one or the other, but the Civil Rights Act is revered as this amazing thing. But Black America is actually poorer, more likely to commit crimes, in more poverty than it was before the Civil Rights Act. There's a lot of explanations. Thomas Sowell's written entire books about this.
And I've read on Thomas Sowell.
Good. And I want you to keep reading Thomas Sowell because he'll push your boundaries and he's
Shout out to Thomas Sowell. Y'all know I love me some Thomas Sowell. I share content of his all the time.
phenomenal. Here's our belief system. The most important thing is dads in the home. If you do not have two parents around, everything falls apart. It's not about government checks or welfare. It's the nuclear family. The nuclear family is a guarantor more than anything else that a kid is going
And
to.
I 100% agree with that.
Right. So we have to figure out then, it's a riddle. I think I know the answer. Why so many Black youth do not have dads around.
I personally think the answer is more convoluted than that. I think it's a bit muddled. I think going forward, there's going to be an upward progression in that area. I have to look at the numbers, and I'll come back to you with some better statistics.
No worries. Thank you very much. Thanks for your good-hearted question. Thank you very much.
I'm going to miss him. He was just such a genuine guy. He really was. He was not a bad guy. Everything, all the statistics that he spoke about are things that you could research on your own. And it's not even just that. These are things that we see on a regular basis. Out of all the people that I know personally, majority of us grew up without our dads. Seriously. But we have friends who have had two-parent households. Even though you may have two-parent households, that doesn't necessarily mean that things are going to be perfect. That doesn't mean that the father is going to play a significant role in you succeeding in life. That doesn't mean that the mother is going to play a significant role in you succeeding in life. At the end of the day, Majority of us who know people who have had the opportunity of having both parents, they are a bit they're a bit different. They have a different scope of how the world operates. They have a different drive. They have a better support system. And mostly they do well in life. Not saying that people who have single parents don't do well in life. A father is very, very important in a child's upbringing. You need both the feminine and the masculine energy in order for things to balance themselves out. Both parents have a role, and it's very hard and very exhausting for one parent to be able to play both of those roles. We're seeing it. Look how many times you pull up the internet and you look at a news report of a mother who just killed their child. So all I'm saying is that, like, maybe instead of us just calling everything racist, we actually take the time to listen and see if these things that are being said actually make sense, as opposed to thinking that it is an attack on you. It's kind of like we ignore them and sweep them under the rug and think that they're going to fix themselves. Well, newsflash, they not fixing themselves, because now our black cities are starting to get the National Guard in there. And you all damn near didn't want that to happen. It took for the president to step in and be like, okay, look, listen, we got to protect the people of these communities. So all I'm saying is that, like, instead of you constantly pointing at white people who tell you about yourself, maybe it's time for us to look in a mirror and start working on these things. Because listen, we could sit here and blame racism. We could blame poverty. We have millionaires and billionaires a part of our community. Why haven't they been able to pull us up out of this? Why hasn't Beyonce or Jay-Z built community centers or hospitals or schools or grocery stores in black neighborhoods? But why isn't our black celebrities, people like Tyler Perry, instead of building a huge studio, you could have built a damn college instead of a big ass studio? We have the finances to do so. Our money is important. So why don't we start putting it in places that are going to benefit our youth, that are going to benefit our elders? So that way we don't have to go to the government in order to give us subsidy, in order for the government to give us welfare. Our parents, love them in pieces, but they did not prepare us the way that they could have prepared us if we would have had both of our parents in our household. They didn't prepare us when it comes to financial stability. We don't know a damn thing. Most of us don't know anything about a Roth, a IRA, a retirement, 401k, and now we got new things such as crypto. But hopefully Black Americans will take some time to look at more clips from Charlie Kirk before just automatically assuming that he's racist and he hated you, because he did it. In fact, his organization actually helped Black people. They provided jobs for Black people. He had Black friends. I know that that's a bit cliche, but at the same time, do not let liberalism make you think that every single thing that is pointing out what's fundamentally wrong with our community is racist, because they're the ones that created it. They're the ones that built it, and they pretty much packaged it up into civil rights and made it seem as if everyone else is the problem. It takes nothing for you all to do your own research instead of automatically assuming that these people are for you. So hopefully this is an eye-opener. I do recommend, like I said, that you all check out more of his videos before you just automatically assume that this man was a racist. That's all I'm saying. But celebrating the fact that this man died and he was assassinated in front of the whole world, as well as his family, that right there should tell you exactly what being affiliated with these people is doing to you. Accountability. Accountability should no longer continue to be kryptonite for the Black community, because it's been that way for too long and we are not winning. As a unit, we may be winning as individuals, but we're not winning as a unit, as a community. Okay? Listen, don't shoot the messenger. Okay? I come in peace. I come in peace. Don't shoot the messenger. Only receive the message. If it is for you, receive it. If it's not, leave it. Keep it going in the comments, and I will see you all next time, okay? Make sure you all follow me on all social media outlets at Pretty Realist, at Pretty Realist 1 on IG, and I will see you all next time.
Just trying to stay sucker free in a world full of lollipops. I'm seeing all the ops. Fake news, fake views. It's an illness, the cure to the sick shit. It's the Pretty Realist.